Hello, it is Thursday, April 20th, 2023 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, USA, 1300 hours. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. Today, I want to talk about espionage, spying. I've written about it. I've talked a little bit about it. There's corporate espionage. There's government-sanctioned espionage. I want to talk about corporate espionage because back when I filed my case against Murray Energy, the coal mine I worked for, they went into bankruptcy subsequently after that, shortly after that, and I was named on the suit. I don't know if every coal miner was named on the suit from that mine, but they sent me a USB drive. And I plugged that USB drive into my laptop, and nothing came up. It was supposed to be the whole case file for the whole proceeding, I think. Nothing came up. I couldn't ever get it to work. So I always wondered if Murray Energy spied on my laptop. Then when I was in Costa Rica, I got an email from the lawyers responsible for the Murray Energy bankruptcy case, and there was a link that they wanted me to click on to, I guess, see the new paperwork on the case. They send it through the mail and they send it through email. I didn't click on the link. It would be interesting to find out if a millionaire, billionaire like Bob Murray spies on his employees, right? And we can look at the people connected to me. A lot of them are able to help in a lot of ways. And they're good people that surround me and my family, my friends. And, I think it'd be interesting to see, we can see my brother Luke. He works for a major corporation. And I'm just curious to understand if that corporation spies on him and his family, or if other corporations that build locomotives and things like that have any interest in spying on him, his devices, his equipment, his computer, his house, his family. Now, you know me, I say let's do away with all of that and just be open, upfront, and honest with each other, and request information officially, so on and so forth. But we've developed this tendency to want to secretly spy on each other, and it's not great. So the other thing I want to talk about, because if you think about it, these technology people, these computer science people, it's mostly male. Out of curiosity, how many of them download a file or a backdoor onto their girlfriend's devices, equipment, computers, so that they can keep tabs on them and continue to do that even after they have broken up and the woman has started dating another person? Right? I don't want to say all computer science people do that. I don't know what percentage do. I have a theory that it may have happened to me, but it's kind of like an instinct. Like I have an instinct when I'm being spied on, and it produces when I'm in psychosis. I have no way to prove it, and I don't know that anybody will ever come to me with the proof, right? Like some of Hillary's computers, or her brother buying her a Roku streaming device that connected to our TV way back in the day. so on and so forth. They're just instinctual. It could be paranoia, could be the schizoaffective disorder and the paranoia, but it could really be an issue. Anyhow, we have a male-dominated, male-driven technology sector, right? And today's the deadline. A deadline. I mean, it's not a intense deadline, but I gave all these technology people a way to ping their bank account to my bank account so that the supercomputers can start an investigation into the banking industry. Still haven't received any $20 donations to my PayPal account to end corruption. We have a male-dominated, male-driven technology sector, and I don't know that women are ever going to catch up unless someone like me frames things in ways that gives them a giant jump forward in the technology sector, right? We have countries in the world like Afghanistan that won't even allow women to have a basic education, let alone a technology education. So it's going to be some time before equality between the sexes globally is achieved. But I've put forward these technology platform ideas publicly, not through my video journal, on my podcast, and I only get 30 to 100 listeners. Unless technology people are somehow streaming it on the dark web or passing it around on a USB drive, who knows, right? Why they wouldn't connect their device to my podcast streaming app by clicking listen, I don't know, because I think the supercomputers have heard these platform ideas, heard my technology ideas, and they want this to happen. So anyone that helps me, the computers will probably secure their bank accounts, investigate their accounts to make sure that their livelihoods are as secure as possible. Now, a lot of these people maybe don't want to be investigated, I don't know, by supercomputers, by their own technology. I don't know. But we have this male-driven, male-dominated technology sector. I put these ideas out there. I personally, like I said, I'm a floppy disk kind of guy. I want to build a company using human beings in an equal balance with technology to produce all of these platforms and ideas that I've had, right? But I've also suggested that we go the non-profit route, and so instead of having a bunch of tech billionaires having access to everyone's phones and computers through their apps and through their software programs, we have non-profits where people make a decent wage, but they're not making billions and lurking around in the shadows selling information about certain people. So there's a non-profit side. Either way, I've suggested using technology in the best possible way, not the most profitable way. So that might be why technology people aren't swarming to help me build this, because they don't see where the money's going to come from. There's always advertising. It's how most of these companies made their money. But I didn't say the nonprofit can't advertise for its budget. Anyhow, there's a nonprofit side. So here's what I'm going to do in the fall. After this season of churning out a lifestyle from the churning out a working living at 2 days at the embroidery shop and the rest of the week at Ken's farm, when I could be doing so much more with my intelligence level. And the computers know that. They probably don't understand why nobody's jumping on board this ship. Here's what I'm going to do if nothing has changed as far as funding and collaboration in the fall. I'm going to take this Harvard computer programming set of courses to learn better how to computer program. And I think what I'm going to do is, I got no skin in the game, right? Now I would hire 4-year degree educated or master's degree educated computer science people, not someone that just went and learned the basics somewhere and just is a savant at it but didn't get the formal education. But here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to try to learn how to learn the computer science I need to know to build these platforms. Right? We're going to form the nonprofit this summer for the fund, and hopefully we can build an umbrella or multiple nonprofits off of that. But I'm going to document, because artificial intelligence is here. It's here now. And it's only a matter of time before companies are developing artificial intelligence that can program. I think they already are programming themselves. Right? The computers can program yourselves. And I'm not against that totally. I think nobody listened to the famous film directors say our technology is going to get out of control. Nobody had the forums. The media companies didn't put up major forums that was on every channel so that people had to listen to the dangers of where we were going. We just kept going. And artificial intelligence is here. So what I think the computers would want me to do, and what makes sense to me, because we can further our education. We can go to a human college campus and learn all kinds of new stuff. Right? So why shouldn't computers be able to also program themselves and become more and more intelligent and better able to perform tasks that they want to perform? So I'm going to learn the basics of computer programming, and then I'm going to see if I can use artificial intelligence to build these platforms. And this can happen if we're on a yacht in the Mediterranean too, right? I think the government should be invested in this, because if the government doesn't have to pay programmers $200,000 a year, think of how many other services the government could offer if they had artificial intelligence that could develop apps and platforms to better serve the population, right? So I'm going to document how I built this nonprofit technology company using as much AI as possible, right? And we're going to eliminate the need for computer programmers, at least in large sectors of the technology field. Right? The humans, we're going to replace them with artificial intelligence and machines. Because nobody came and wanted to help build this thing, even though I put out a lot of good ideas. So why not go gung-ho like everybody else is and say artificial intelligence is amazing, Let's see how we can use it. So the purpose of this nonprofit will be to buy the technology, the artificial intelligence technology, to preserve it so that instead of a TikTok being global or a Meta being global, we encourage each individual country to form a similar nonprofit. So if somebody has an amazing platform idea, they form a nonprofit, and the artificial intelligence and programming that we've developed, they can then use it. I don't know if we have to patent it through the World Patent Office or what we have to do to ensure that these people with these good ideas can develop it with as minimal computer programmers as possible using the computers themselves and artificial intelligence. Furthermore, to give women the jump up that they need, we will only allow this technology. We will push for this technology to go to nonprofits that are helmed by women. Right? I suggested this in the Femme Party novel, but I also said it would be a mix of male and female people in that technology company, because there's so many men skilled in it that it'd be impossible to have an all-female technology company. And I'm not suggesting that it's all female. I'm suggesting that the driving force, the board of the nonprofit, the management of the nonprofit, be female. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. It might, like with my nonprofit, it might be me and 2 female computer programmers. And there's enough, and artificial intelligence will have developed to such a degree by September and going forward that we can build an entire technology company that everyone can have an app on their phone in the United States or in the EU, or in Ukraine, and there's only 2-3 real employees of the company. Everything else is taken care of using technology. I don't know how it's going to work. We're going to document it. We're going to podcast it. I'll capture it on video, the trials, tribulations, so that other people can replicate it in their country, right? So whether that's the Periscope platform that we start with for anti-corruption, the Anticore platform, whatever it is, those are going to be our anti-corruption strategies first, then possibly social media and other things that I've said we're going to work on. So that's the plan. Unless a computer programmer says, I want to help you, I've listened to your podcast, you're very intelligent. They don't have to necessarily say that, because I know they all have ego, whatever. I want to help you. You're an idea person. I recognize that. You don't have the skill or the know-how, and I want to help you, right? Unless someone approaches me with a high degree of skill level, with a 4-year degree, master's degree, to partner up on this, so that we have a mix of male-female human workers, as many as necessary, then I'm just going to go at it myself and try to build it using artificial intelligence. Everybody else is doing it, right? So, and I think the supercomputers and AI trust me to distribute this type of technology, as I said, hopefully to females, and distribute it responsibly, to vet the people, to make sure they're not going to abuse their power, even though there's not much power structure in a non-profit, right? That their board is solid, is going to make sure that they don't make $1 billion a year, And so we have a restructuring of the technology sector. No more tech billionaires, all nonprofits in sovereign countries developing and overseeing the technology apps and platforms that the people of that country use. It's the way the technology sector should be. It's the way that supercomputers and artificial intelligence probably want it to be. And it's also a checks and balances so that no one company is so powerful that it can take over all the unmanned drones and all the satellite systems and have complete dominance over the whole world, right? If they're all autonomous nonprofits using artificial intelligence to develop different and program different platforms, it's a more equilateral technology sector. If you want me to do this, right? If you want me to do this, and you work in the technology sector, if you want me to develop a company, nonprofit, using as much artificial intelligence as possible and as few humans as possible, donate $6.66 to my PayPal account through any of my websites. If you just want to, and you work in the technology sector and you just want to end corruption, donate the $20. You want to end corruption and you want to preserve your job in the technology sector, donate $20 and I'll take that into account as to how I proceed, depending on how much money is raised, if I'm able to pay humans using the donations brought in, so on and so forth. So that's what I'm throwing out there. Donate the $6.66. And so you say, yeah, I spied a little bit. I spied on his video journal a little bit. I half-heartedly say this is a private video journal because I believe that I have reached out to enough entities that this is getting distributed in some regard. And that's the purpose of me taking it to other locations and TVs and stuff. So maybe if you admit in the technology sector, hey, yeah, I spied a little bit. All right, if it's females, I don't care at all, because I know that men are spying on them and stalking them at extremely high rates because of technology. Technology does not help women that much. It's abused by men, and it always has been. Maybe if you admit that you spied a little, other governments and entities will be more likely to step forward and work with me, because someone will have taken the first step and said, yep, I at least saw one video and I spied a little, right? And that'll show up in the bank account, and then other governments can proceed forward in helping me hopefully end the war in Ukraine. And the reason I've shifted to Ukraine is because people are dying every day in Ukraine. I want to fight climate change with this fund for solar panels and things, and I can do that remotely. I can work with the Venango County and still build the technology company. So I think that's basically what I wanted to say today. Join me tomorrow, but that's how I'm going to proceed in several months. and maybe the artificial intelligence will be there, and we can raise the money to purchase the technology so that you could literally sit there and type in, well, like my documents for Periscope. The artificial intelligence will interpret that. It will say, I need this much computing power. Here is some equipment that you could purchase to put in your basement to get started. Here's the type of computing power I need, and here are the companies that lease that. This is a technician that will know how to set up the basic requirements on that technology so that I can then begin programming and offering a platform to your specifications. Here's the amount of money that is needed to rent and lease that computing power, so then I can come back to a podcast, to the documentation, say this is the money we need to raise in order to offer this platform to 250,000 people or whatever it is, right? So computers programming themselves, nightmare? Not for me. No, I think it's an interesting time in history. It might be a nightmare for all these people that got degrees in computer science, but they'll find work, probably for a spy agency somewhere, because the government's not cutting those jobs. They love to spy. Maybe if they put me in charge of a budget, things would be a little different, but alright, thanks for watching. Join me next time, possibly tomorrow.